Welcome to the quest for the Green Bowl, the rise of Ralu Azath. Green Acres returns as the lone league member with 3 Game of the Week wins. And this was the biggest one because it earned him a playoff spot. A loss in this matchup, he'd probably be missing out. Actually, he would be guaranteed missing out. And of course, you got to go through that crazy tiebreaker. 5 teams at 7-7. I had you in anyway, even in my calculations, but the computer's calculations were a little different. But you still made it in as the 5th seed. How are you feeling after that insane ride that you had to go on?
Dude, I'm feeling good. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was close. Half the teams were in that tiebreaker, and then I mean, I'm lucky to make it out.
Yeah, I mean your record against your division helped, and you beat Risky Business twice, obviously. So that was huge. like,
Yeah,
uh,
dude,
yeah,
it was a close regular season for sure.
yeah, definitely. And I mean your match too. Like it wasn't easy at first. Like both you and the Dreamcats last week. You didn't start well. I mean, she had a couple of touchdowns by her running backs, but it was low scoring, and Burrow looked like he wasn't doing as good. And then you finally got Keenan Allen to give you the lead. Like it went late, and then you were able to bench your defense and just end it. But I mean, were you worried a little bit during that? Because I mean, it was really close.
Yeah, I mean, she got a couple touchdowns early,
Yeah,
and so yeah, I was worried, but yeah, dude, I'm glad I got JK back. I got him
yeah,
back. I didn't even know he was gonna come back until like Saturday or something.
yeah.
So and he came in big. He had 2 touchdowns. I think he had like 18 points. That helped me. And then yeah, Keenan Allen too. So
Yeah, definitely. And the last time you were on here, we went through your predictions for everyone in the playoff race, and you were pretty spot on actually, because there was a lot of work to be done, as we know, with 5 teams at 7-7. And you're one of your more controversial ones with Risky Business, who only needed 1 win in the last couple of weeks, doesn't get in, doesn't win again. Like, so you were also right about that. Are you actually God?
I mean, if yeah, he just needed 1 win, and then even with 2 losses, he was in that tiebreaker, so he could have made it out. But yeah, tough for him, man.
Yeah,
But
definitely. I mean, it's tough
it
for
was a tough end for the regular season too. But I mean, the teams that made it are pretty good. All the teams are good. So
yeah.
um, yeah, I feel lucky. I hope I do well this week. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, talking
Um,
about this week, obviously you're taking on AR's ayahuasca plants, who had to kind of have a huge run to get in. He was kind of playing in the back for a while and kind of gets in and then jumps all the way up to the 4 seed with the tiebreaker. But at the time of recording this, Stefan Diggs still goes tonight, so we don't know those results. He had Kittle go off on Thursday as we're recording
yeah.
this. But are you feeling confident? I mean, if you do get past them, you also get another game against the elite Mother Tuckers, and you're the only team that beat them. So are you feeling confident about a Green Bowl run here?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think at least this week I have good matchups, and his matchups are pretty tough. The only exception to that is Green Bay plays LA.
Yeah, yeah,
I think they could score a lot in LA, but then it's at Green Bay, and it's going to be cold.
yeah,
It's a night game. I think maybe the cold will help me with that one. So
yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good. I think my matchups are good.
Yeah, I think we'll find out more too if Diggs does his thing for you. As it was kind of funny to look at it that your best weeks are always when Diggs gets double digits. So that's he's kind of been
Yeah,
your stud.
yeah, he's been pretty good, but like the last couple of weeks, he's been slowing down some. But I think against Miami, especially if Miami puts up some big scores and stuff too, like could be a big week for him.
Yeah. And as you said, every team that's in it are good at this point, regardless of record, because we were all beating up on each other. I think it's going to be a very interesting tournament. We already have an upset watch with the Dreamcats at the moment beating the Scoregasms, and having the percentage has gone in her favor at the moment. As we're recording this, Josh Allen still goes tonight. So we'll see what happens there and how it is on Sunday when this video airs. But I think everyone has a legit chance. I mean, I think when I was looking at the initial projections on Tuesday, the worst is 15% chance to win it all, and it's actually all three wild cards have that, and then it goes Elite Mother Tuckers and me. The Scoregasms have a little bit as well. So there's a lot on the line, and I think that for our segment this week, we have to go through the rest of the season rankings in fantasy football for all these players. Your division foe, Elite Mother Tuckers, did this twice this year, and now we're going to get your takes. So yeah, let's get going. It's time to break down the numbers. All right, so this time we're doing something a little different from the last two times. I will be going through each playoff team's top players in the rankings, and then you could rate the teams with how many ranked players they have. We'll be using quotes from 2001: A Space Odyssey for this one. So if you think that the team's group of players will be as impressive as their ranking or better, you can say it had waited 4 million years. It was prepared to wait for an eternity, essentially signifying that they've been building up for this moment. That's the narrator in the beginning. If you think that they'll be at, kind of at the projections or just below, like close enough, and they'll need some other help probably from other areas, you can say the mission is too important to allow you to jeopardize it. That's Hell 9000, of course.
It's gotta be Hell.
Yeah. And of course, Hell 9000 is his last one too, because it's one of the most famous ones from that movie. If you think that the players are going to be far below expectations and the team is going to need a lot of luck to succeed, you can say, sorry to interrupt the festivities, Dave, but I think we've got a problem. Yeah, so... Right. And I can remind you of those later too if you need a refresher. But
pretty good.
So let's start with the top-seeded Elite Mother Tuckers, of course. So it's kind of funny how this will go, but you'll notice these two top seeds, we don't have as many ranked players, but they're kind of high up the list. So the Elite Mother Tuckers have the second ranked, and this is the projections on all the experts for the rest of the season, Josh Jacobs. They have third-ranked Austin Eckler, so the two running backs. They also have 10th-ranked Tyreek Hill, so that's 3 in the top 10. They have 33rd-ranked Tyler Lockett as well, although he got injured, and I think he's going to be out, so that's interesting, losing a top player like that. But just missing the cut for the top 50 was Jalen Hurts, who's 51st. I think he's the second quarterback in the rankings. So just to go through a couple of numbers real quick, Jacobs has over 1,400 rushing yards, over 300 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns. Eckler has over 600 rushing and over 600 receiving yards, and 13 TDs. The man's maniac, reaches the end zone a lot. Of course, Tyreek Hill's having a crazy year. He's almost up to 1,500 yards. He's got 7 touchdowns. And then when you look at the quarterback, Hurts, over 3,000 passing yards, over 600 rushing yards, almost 700, and 32 total touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. I mean, he's obviously looking like an MVP candidate in the NFL. But, and Lockett's had a great season too. But again, he's injured at the moment, so we'll see what happens there. So what would you rank the Elite Mother Tuckers' top players?
I think at least Jacobs, the Raiders aren't going to make the playoffs. They might try some other running backs. I think what's the middle one again?
Yeah, so the middle one is this mission is too important to allow you to jeopardize it. That's the players are going to be kind of close, but they're not going to exceed it. They might be just below the projections.
I think it's too important to jeopardize.
Yeah. So you think that they're going to need some other help, of course, and that's an interesting take. And again, that's the point is, you do have to watch out for that. They've been riding Jacobs, but maybe they don't keep going to him. Maybe they run him into the ground. We don't know.
He was like a little injured, so if he's a little bit injured, they might put in someone else. I'm not totally sure they're out of the playoffs, but I think they're effectively out.
Yeah, and Lockett, of course, being injured, so he
Yeah,
loses a top player there too. So yeah, I mean, I could see that. Again, at this point, you probably need. I always say in the playoffs, like you always need that random player to do well. It's you need a lot to go your way. So now we're going to go to my squad. I have 6th ranked Nick Chubb, 7th ranked Justin Jefferson, who thankfully wasn't injured today so far. Let's knock on wood there. 31st ranked Jalen Waddle as well. Chubb over 1,100 rushing yards. He's got over 100 receiving yards, which is low, but actually high for him. 12 touchdowns. Jefferson, 1,500 yards, 7 TDs. Waddle, over 1,000 yards and 6 TDs. So those are my 3 studs that are on my team.
I mean, with Chubb, it's kind of similar. They're not going to make the playoffs. I know this week they're playing a division match, right?
Baltimore, yeah. Luckily, I'm on a bye. Like, I did not like my matchups this week.
Yeah, dude, I think that they'll play those guys. They want to see Deshaun Watson and get their offense going and have a good end to the season. And then the other 2 guys are very well in the playoff run. I think you got a good shot with them.
Oh, really? So are you thinking? Are you thinking the first one that it had waited 4 million years and prepared to wait an eternity? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, dude. I mean, those guys they're in position. They've been waiting. This is their chance.
I hope so. I hope that proves correct. All right, let's move on to the multiple scoregasms, which are obviously locked in a big-time battle right now. 5th ranked Jonathan Taylor, who that's probably going down after he's out for the rest of today, like very early. He only played like a couple snaps. 23rd ranked James Conner, 24th ranked Amon-Ra St. Brown, otherwise known as the Sun God. 30 ranked Dameon Pierce, 39th ranked Josh Allen, 42nd ranked Chris Olave, and 44th ranked Jamal Williams. And you'll notice a lot of ranked players, but nobody in the top 10. And as you know, in fantasy, that's why they were 8-6 this year. Even though they have a lot of good players. Taylor he kind of came on strong lately. Only 4 TDs this year though, and again he got injured today. 800 rushing yards, and then Connor. He's kind of both. He had over 500 rushing yards, 200 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. The Sun God, he's up to 898 yards and 6 touchdowns, 3 in the last couple of weeks. Pierce has 939 yards, and of course he's out this week too. 165 receiving yards and 5 TDs. Josh Allen is probably the biggest player, I would think, on this team. Over 3,000 passing yards, 32 touchdowns, over 600 rushing yards. Has thrown 11 interceptions though, so that's something. Olave over 800 yards and 3 TDs, and Williams over 800 rushing yards and 14 TDs, getting those goal line carries. So what would you say for this group from the scoregasms?
I mean, they're obviously looking pretty good. He's got a couple of injuries, with Taylor and then Dameon Pierce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's too important.
Yeah, too important to jeopardize it. gonna need some help. Yeah, I'm sure she's feeling that way right now. The Colts were over 30 points the last time I checked. We'll see if that holds. But whenever you're up against that, you're gonna need some help.
If the Vikings score a couple times, that number is gonna come down a lot to somewhere in the mid-20s or something. But still, it's a big defensive score.
Yeah, absolutely. Like hoping for that garbage time the scoregasms are. Let's move on to your opponent, 4th seeded AR's Ayahuasca Plant. They have 12th ranked Devontae Adams, 20th ranked DeAndre Hopkins, 26th ranked Miles Sanders, 27th ranked Aaron Jones, 29th ranked DK Metcalf, who already went Thursday and had a kind of a down game, 36th ranked David Montgomery, 43rd ranked Christian Watson, who's been a touchdown machine lately, tied with the Scoregasms for the most top 50 players on the roster. But again, no top 10 picks based on the rest of the season rankings. And we know Adams has had a great year so far, over 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns. Hopkins has over 600 yards and 3 touchdowns in just 7 games. So he's actually been kind of coming on. Sanders over 1,000 rushing yards, 11 TDs. Jones has 847 rushing yards, 328 receiving yards, and 6 TDs. So he kind of does it both ways as well. Metcalf came into Thursday with over 800 yards and 6 TDs. Montgomery surprisingly has decent numbers, over 600 rushing yards, over 200 receiving yards, only 4 touchdowns though. And then you got, yeah, we'll see. Watson, only 400 receiving yards, but he's got 9 touchdowns, and a lot of that came recently. That's insanity. So, what would you say about your opponent? What how's this team stacking up?
I mean, because of their matchups this week, I really think is except for the Green Bay game, if it's cold and the offenses kind of suck, that matchup could have been good in LA, but then I think it's going to be tough in Green Bay. The rest of them have tough matchups, so I'm gonna say, what's the bottom one?
That one is, sorry to interrupt the festivities, Dave, but I think we've got a problem. Yeah.
This week, I don't know. Next week he might do good, but this week
he's got to get past you first.
He's going to be out there cheering, at the Green Bay game. That's all, because he's going to need some help on Monday night.
Yeah, he's going to try. He's going to try to will his team. He's going to have to coach from the stands. Yeah.
What about good?
Yeah. All right, so now, of course, let's get to your team, 5th seeded Green Acres here. 15th ranked Stephon Diggs, 37th ranked Dalton Schultz. You have one of the better tight end rankings. 41st ranked Najee Harris, 49th ranked Keenan Allen, and 50th ranked Dante Foreman. Of course, Diggs over 1,200 yards, 12 TDs. Schultz has 420 yards and 3 TDs, but a lot of that's come lately, and I think the computers like his matchups, I would think, going forward. And you know how tight ends are at any big game, and suddenly they're in the top 5. Harris over 700 yards, 160 yards, 7 TDs. Allen 400 yards and 2 TDs. He's been hurt most of the season, which is why his numbers are low. And then Foreman, since the McCaffrey trade, over 600 yards and 4 TDs. So what would you say about your team?
I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. I think especially this week, I haven't looked ahead at next week's matchups, but this week's matchups, I think they're good. I think Diggs is going to have a big game against the Dolphins. Yeah. I'm hoping. And, the other matchups look pretty good too. Keenan Allen has a good matchup, and feeling pretty good. My guys are finally healthy. JK is back, Keenan's back. Feeling pretty good.
Yeah, so you've been prepared to wait for an eternity, I would assume.
Those guys, especially the injured guys, have been waiting.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
Yeah, of course, no bias here. So let's finish up with the 6th-seeded Siamese Dreamcats. They have 25 ranked Tony Pollard, 38th ranked Christian Kirk, 40th ranked Ezekiel Elliott, and 46th ranked Devontae Smith. Isaiah Pacheco was close to the top 50, actually at 52nd, as he's been coming on strong lately. So Pollard, of course, has been doing it both ways, over almost 900 rushing yards, almost 300 receiving yards, 12 TDs. I almost feel like he has a quiet 12 TDs. I was surprised that it was even that high. I know he's had a great year. Kirk over 800 yards, 7 TDs. Elliott has also been good, even though he's got Pollard over 700 rushing yards and 9 TDs. Devontae Smith is almost bettering last year for himself, almost 800 yards and 5 TDs. And Pacheco, almost 600 yards and 3 TDs, with most coming in the last few weeks when he took over the starting job. So what would you say about the Dreamcats here?
I mean, I think they have a pretty good team. I've never seen someone start both running backs from the same team, but it was for Dallas, it's working.
Yeah, I saw this one time the Bengals. They had they had a couple of running backs once. I started both of them in one game, and they did well for me. But she's not. I wasn't able to do that almost every week. Like, I mean, it's kind of insane that they're both getting enough. They score a lot of points. I think that's what helps them. But yeah, what do you're saying they're good? But which quotes are you giving?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty good. I think they could run. I think they've been waiting.
Yeah, waiting for eternity. A funny thing too, the Dreamcats, like all of us, have never won a Green Bull, so we all have that. We're all trying to win our first one. Like, she's never been to the Green Bull at all, while me and you have, and lost, unfortunately. But yeah, so I could see that. I could see that. And if the Colts do what they do, and then these players step up, the Scoregasms are going to be hoping Josh Allen drops 50 tonight, because it's going to be a rough one. But we'll see. All these matchups are pretty
I
good.
do think Josh Allen is going to have a big game.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. When this video airs, everybody will know what Josh Allen did. So you can all make your own decisions. So before we finish, I did want to go through the rest of the top 50 with all the other players that are on all the other teams, just to kind of give us a look at all the stars that aren't in our league playoffs. Christian McCaffrey, obviously number 1 in the rankings. Derrick Henry was number 4. Delvin Cook, number 8. Ramondre Stevenson, number 9. Jamar Chase, number 11. Joe Mixon, number 13. And then you got Saquon Barkley and Travis Kelce, 14 and 16. A.J. Brown, Kenneth Walker, 17 and 18. CeeDee Lamb's 19. Travis Etienne, 21. Elvin Kamara, number 22. T. Higgins, who you traded, number 28. Garrett Wilson's 32nd, Hawkinson, Amari Cooper 33rd and 34th, Mike Evans 45th, and Terry McLaurin and Patrick Mahomes are 47th and 48th. So, I mean, that is an insane amount of star power that won't be affecting our results. Isn't that nuts when you go through that? Like, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, you know, I'm glad that we don't have to play some of these players. McCaffrey too. I mean, he puts up 20 almost every week. It's insane.
Yeah, no, but I mean, yeah, I'm glad I'm not playing this, guys.
Yeah, no Mahomes too. I feel like risky business. If they got in, their team would have been like pretty much the teams that missed out. They still have good players and like maybe some injuries. I think only, to be honest, the Stellar Bitches and Lebowski Thor are probably the only teams that have just been very bad with points this year. Although, again, the Stellar Bitches have Derrick Henry, who can score 40 at any time, so upsets galore there. But yeah, that's insane. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show. Congrats on that huge win. And if you win this week, I will be looking to the other 3. So besides you coming on next time, the other semifinalists plus myself, I want us all on the show at the same time. We can trash talk, all that fun stuff. And of course, as you know from our last episode, we'll be at the Temple of the Dream Priests. I'm sure that'll be insane. Maybe a little extra motivation to play well this week for you. But I mean, just your quick thoughts on the potential to be at that temple. I mean, it looks like a pretty insane place.
I'm excited. I think I have a good chance this week. Obviously, next week is like the Elite Mother Tuckers, so I'd love to beat. I put up 140 something. I'm still up.
Yeah, it would be a hell of a storyline, man. We'd be talking about that because that was insane. That game. The reason why you had a battle in week 14 too. So nuts. Yeah. There you go, man. Good luck on the rest of the way. Again, thanks for coming. And that's the content for the week. Hope you had fun. Just 3 weeks of episodes left. Isn't that insane? And yes, the story, our Cosmic Horse story, is about to really hit a high gear now as we've really built up to these last 3 weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun. You should check it out. Plus, our league's going to be battling. Should be a lot of fun results. Until next time, salut, and check out all of the Game of the Week results from our regular season before you go.